So I'm from the San Gabriel Valley. Grew up on the east side of LA. Grew up in project housing and just kind of broke the stereotype, right? I didn't like math. I didn't like anime. Right? I was just one of these kids, right? Who were
No, I didn't
straight
like
up,
math.
yeah, didn't like math, didn't like anime. I was just into gangbanging. My parents were immigrant parents, both of them from Korea, but ethnically Chinese. And so they
Oh.
fled the war, and they had a lot of trauma because of that. And I think my dad, because of that, coped with alcohol, right? And so
Uh-huh.
through drinking and kind of just living that type of lifestyle, was cheating on my mom. He's doing a lot of things to, again, self-soothe.
Uh-huh.
And he kind of took it out on us. So me and my older brother grew up in a very chaotic household.
Uh-huh.
And essentially, at the age of 12, I joined a gang, right? I hopped off the porch. I was like, I can't trust these people.
Mm.
I ended up joining a gang. It was the worst time to join the gang because 3 months after that, we got RICO'd. So, and that's what they took down the mafia with and all that. So
Uh-huh.
they said we were like the Asian triad, right?
Wow.
And so they rounded up like 100 of us essentially. We went to prison. I ended up
At
getting
12?
caught up. Yeah, I ended up getting caught up in that, and I went to California Youth Authority.
Wow.
And then from there, they gave me 4 years, and I maxed out, which means I did all the years. You're supposed to only do 50%, but when you go to YA, anyone who's been there, it's literally gladiator school for kids. You have to get admitted, so they do like a psych evaluation,
Uh-huh.
and then you're called a juvenile ward. So
Wow.
you have like essentially you have to have like mental issues essentially.
Whoa.
And so you go in there, they give you a number, and then everybody's fighting. There's all kinds of
Oh
crazy
my
stuff that
gosh.
happens. People get turned out, which means taken advantage of,
Oh my
essayed,
gosh.
all this.
Yeah.
And so for there, I was there for 4 years, and then I got out for 67 days. Obviously, in that environment, there's a lot of trauma, and it's all compounding. And I end up going back to prison. This time, I'm 16 years old. They try me as an adult.
Whoa.
It's a double shooting, and then I end up doing. They give me 10 years. I plea out basically, and so I end up just doing 10 years in the pen. I get out of prison. Um, try to fly straight because I think everyone has that moment of like, dang, I don't want to live in prison forever. I've
Mm-hmm.
been 12 to 25. I've been locked up, and I just really want to do better for myself. But again, there's that little box that you check that says, have you ever committed a crime? And then you gotta, assault with deadly weapon. You gotta
Yeah.
put all that in, and then
Yeah.
they're like, yeah,
Shoot.
we're not gonna hire
They
you,
said no
right?
thank you.
Yeah, no thanks. And so I then felt very angry, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go back to the streets. I got plugged in with the homies. I started selling drugs, and I got everything I wanted. I had a 43rd floor penthouse in LA.
Wow.
We had drugs, alcohol, whatever we wanted. 3 different cars, like close to $1 million watch collection, all kinds of stuff.
Whoa.
And at the end of the day, I felt empty. And I was like, why am I still feeling empty? I'm
Dang.
making 30, 40, 50K a month, tax free, right? And it's literally, right? Tax free. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And at the same time, I'm feeling that void, and it's like a hole in my heart. It was the
Uh-huh.
best way to explain it. And I had everything. I'd be in a room with 100 of my homies, respect everything, women, and I'm still just like disassociated. Like on the drive home, I'm feeling like, what's wrong with my life? What's going on? And through that, I found God essentially. My mom, she played a big part in it. Series of events happened. My friend died. Another friend hung himself in prison,
Oh,
and then
jeez.
a youngster that I courted into the gang got shot and killed as well. All within like a 2-week time frame. And I think that's when it really woke me up to go, dude, you've been shot, you've been stabbed, like that didn't change you. But when people you love start to die, that's when it's like, okay, it's a little too much. You have survivor's guilt, you have this emptiness, you can't live, you can't die. It's literally literal misery. And how is it that you've been to prison and you're more miserable outside? And
Mm.
so that's what really gave me a perspective to go, it's either you die like this or something's got to change. And
Mm.
so through my mom, I was able to meet the pastor, who's still my pastor till this day, and I end up just doing prison ministry, and now I'm here, just famous online for telling my testimony.
That's wild. So when that change started to have, you started to feel the emptiness and you're like, I have all this stuff, but I still feel empty. Were you communicating that with your boys, or is that something you kept inside?
No, I mean, as a gang culture, it's
Right.
like you don't show us any signs of weakness. And then I had this reputation, this like infamous reputation to like uphold, right? And so when you show any kind of tears or weakness or
Mhm.
feelings, I would see how they would treat other people in my hood.
Mhm.
They'd be like, bro, what like, are you a girl? What's wrong with you?
So
Right?
how'd you do it then? How did you start making the changes
Yeah.
and keep your or not keep your reputation, but how'd you do that?
I think when I first, so my pastor, he kind of explained the gospel to me very clearly. He said, like, he asked me two questions, which I felt like were loaded questions now that I think about it. But he's like, do you know what sin is, and are you a sinner? Right? And I'm like, bro, I didn't just draw on my body, like,
Yeah,
'cause
you're
I
all
ran out of,
probably
like,
look at me.
literally, and mind you, my pastor is like a short Korean dude, has never stepped a big toe in like the streets, straight up, like doesn't understand anything, right? And so he's like looking at me dead in my face, and he's saying this, and he's suited and booted, right? He's super clean cut, all that, and he's speaking like not only broken English, but he has a translator next to him. So I feel like, bro, you got this dude like all in my business right now. It was like a lot, but at the same time, I could sense, being in a gang, you have like a lot of situational awareness, and contrary to what a lot of people think, like we have a lot of, like, we pick up on little things, right? It's very, you have that emotional awareness too. And so I could sense that he was very genuine. He was just real. And so I just answered him the best that I can. I'm like, of course I'm a sinner, and sin is whatever you do that's not in line with God. And then he literally said, that's not true. And I was like, wait, what? And then he explained the analogy of me being Chinese. He's like, did you choose to be Chinese? I was like, no. And he goes, so why are you Chinese? And I'm like, what kind of question? Like, I'm born this way, right? And he goes, right. And he goes, let's say you eat more orange chicken. And I was like, orange chicken is not Chinese food, by the way. But, right? He's like, he's like, if you eat more orange chicken, are you going to be more Chinese? And I'm like, no. If you eat less, are you going to be less Chinese? And I'm like, no. He goes, either way, you're Chinese, right? And he goes, that's what sin is. You're born that way. You're trying to do well. You're imperfect. You're trying to be perfect, and you keep failing. And that's why you feel empty. That line, again, never shared with him anything. Don't talk to my mom. I'm like, how does bro see right through me? And I just couldn't understand it. And for the very first time, I was mind boggled, but also kind of felt this sense of like, okay, he gets it. He's not just gonna like mislead me. I think he has like the antidote, right? And so he explained it in that way and was like, this is why Jesus had to die. He showed me some verses, changed my life completely. And then from then on, I went back to the homies, and I was like, look, I experienced something kind of crazy. And the first thing they did was, bro, you're on drugs for sure. Right? Because I'm sitting here going, yeah, God said that I'm perfected. These Hebrews 10:17, 10:14 is saying that I'm righteous and God doesn't remember my sins, and he sent Jesus. And they're just like, bro, are you smoking meth? Like, are you hitting the pipe? What's wrong with you? Right? And I'm like, and but they sensed the peace that I had, because it was like immediate, where I just felt, I cried, and I felt like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And they were just like, what the hell is wrong with you? And half of the hood was like, this is a phase. Like, Johnny's gonna, he probably been through something. I mean, he's been locked up all of his life. He found something different. Yeah. We respect that he didn't do it in prison, because when you go to prison, you represent something bigger than yourself, right? You're from your hood. So when you walk in there, every yard, my gang is very big. So every yard has a couple of our homies. Okay. And so, he's like, they were thankful that I didn't do it in prison, because it's kind of shunned upon. Okay. So when I get out of prison, they're like, all right, you at least stood 10 toes. You came home correctly. But, long story short, basically they were shocked at first. And then little by little, they started to see like, yo, he's serious. Yeah. He's actually peaceful. When the homies are like, come out, he's like, oh, I'm good. Before I was just like, bro, 8-ball in each nose, like Henny thing is possible, right? Like, Asians love Henny, by the way, right? So we literally, it was just Coke and Henny, and then women. And now it's like, I'm okay, and they're just like, what? Like, it doesn't make sense, And so I think they saw the change before, like they heard what I was saying, but as, actions speak louder than words. So they saw my life, and they're like, bro, this guy's different. And they were cool with it.